Pakistan has declared an open war on Afghanistan's Taliban government. Pakistan bombed Afghanistan's major cities Kabul and Kandahar.
In an unprecedented move, Pakistan has declared an open war on the Afghan Taliban, a conflict that is rapidly transforming into one of the most alarming geopolitical confrontations of our time. With tensions rising across the globe, bombs falling in Ukraine, military clashes in the Middle East, and Russia's military aggression, the world now faces the terrifying prospect of yet another catastrophic war in South Asia. This is no longer just a border dispute. It's a full-blown military escalation between two formidable powers with far-reaching consequences for the region and the world. In this video, we'll break down the timeline of events, the underlying causes, and the dangerous implications of this war. Stay with us as we explore what led to this conflict, why it's happening now, and what it means for the future of South Asia and beyond. How did we get here? It all began on February 26th, when the Taliban's military wing launched a coordinated attack on Pakistani positions along the Durand Line, the controversial border that divides Pakistan and Afghanistan. The offensive targeted several military bases in Pakistani provinces, including Kunar, Khost, Nangarhar, Nuristan, Paktia, and Paktika. These areas, rich in military infrastructure, became the battleground for what Pakistan's Defense Minister Khawaja Mohammad Asif now calls open war. But this attack was not without provocation. According to the Taliban, the raid was a direct response to Pakistan's strikes on Afghan territory on February 22nd. Pakistan claimed that it had bombed militant camps operating within Afghan borders, which, according to CNN, had become a serious test for the fragile ceasefire between the two nations. As tensions escalated, the Taliban retaliated, in launching strikes on multiple locations within Pakistan. The situation quickly devolved into a full-scale military clash, and Pakistan wasted no time responding with its own bombing raids, even targeting Kabul, the birthplace of the Taliban's elusive leader, Hibatullah Akhundzada. The battle unfolds. By February 27th, the violence had reached new heights. Pakistan, claiming that the Taliban had miscalculated by attacking Pakistani military posts, he launched a series of bombing campaigns targeting Taliban positions across Afghanistan, including Kabul. The strikes were part of Operation Righteous Fury, a military operation intended to neutralize the Taliban threat. Although Pakistan's precise intent regarding Akhundzada remains unclear, the symbolic nature of the strikes was undeniable. In response, the Taliban claimed that it had targeted several military positions in Afghanistan's southern provinces, including Helmand and Kandahar. While Pakistan continues to deny the accuracy of the Taliban's claims, both sides have continued to escalate their strikes. According to the Taliban, Pakistan's attacks have resulted in 19 civilian casualties, including women and children, a claim that is hard to verify independently given the lack of neutral reporting from the region. On the other hand, Pakistan's Prime Minister's spokesperson, Musharraf Zaidi, offered a vastly different perspective, stating that 297 Taliban fighters had been killed in the ongoing conflict, with over 450 more injured. As with all war, the truth is difficult to pin down, but what is undeniable is that both sides are entrenched in a deadly conflict, and the situation shows no sign of de-escalating. The root causes. To understand why this war is unfolding, we need to dig deeper into the roots of the conflict. One key issue is the dispute over the Durand Line, a border demarcation that has long been a source of tension between Pakistan and Afghanistan. The line, drawn in 1893 by the British Empire, divides the Pashtun populations between the two countries. The Taliban, predominantly composed of Pashtun factions, has refused to recognize the legitimacy of the border, and its leadership has historically maintained that the line is an arbitrary colonial construct. But the fact that the Taliban dominates Afghanistan's political landscape further complicates the situation. The Taliban's refusal to accept the Durand Line as the official border has led to numerous skirmishes and border disputes with Pakistan. With both sides unwilling to compromise on this sensitive issue, it has become a flashpoint for military clashes, culminating in the violence we see today. However, the conflict goes beyond territorial disputes. Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of harboring various terrorist groups, including the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan (TTP), which has been responsible for numerous deadly attacks within Pakistan. These groups, operating from Afghan soil, have long been a source of instability for Pakistan, contributing to a steady rise in terrorist attacks in the country. The U.S. Department of State reports that the number of terrorist attacks in Pakistan surged by 50% from 2022, with the TTP responsible for the majority of these incidents. Pakistan blames Afghanistan's Taliban government for not doing enough to curb the activities of these terrorist groups. In response, the Taliban has denied these accusations, claiming that it is not providing sanctuary to any terrorist organizations. The impasse between the two nations has left Pakistan frustrated, believing that it has no choice but to take military action to protect its sovereignty. Pakistan's military advantage. As the war intensifies, it's clear that Pakistan possesses a significant military advantage over Afghanistan. With a defense budget of more than $9 billion, a highly trained and equipped army of over 660,000 active personnel, and a vast array of military assets, Pakistan is vastly superior in terms of conventional military power. Its military arsenal includes thousands of tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery units, as well as a fleet of 120 naval vessels. On paper, Pakistan should have no problem achieving a decisive military victory. However, the Taliban's strength lies in its asymmetric warfare capabilities. Despite its lack of advanced military technology, the Taliban has a long history of waging successful guerrilla campaigns, both against foreign invaders and, now, against Pakistan. In addition to its conventional forces, the Taliban can rely on its alliance with the TTP, a group that has between 30,000 and 35,000 members. The TTP's expertise in guerrilla warfare and terrorism poses a significant threat to Pakistan's military, potentially weakening its conventional strength through insurgency tactics. The Taliban's strategy is clear. It is not aiming to win a conventional war by defeating Pakistan's military on the battlefield. Instead, it is focusing on sustaining a protracted conflict that saps Pakistan's resources and morale. By engaging in guerrilla warfare, suicide bombings, and ambushes, the Taliban aims to create a destabilizing environment within Pakistan that could force the country to the negotiating table. The role of regional powers. One of the most controversial aspects of this conflict is Pakistan's accusation that the Taliban is effectively a proxy for India. While India has provided humanitarian aid to Afghanistan and maintained diplomatic ties with the Taliban, Pakistan views these actions as a sign that India is seeking to increase its influence in Afghanistan at Pakistan's expense. Some in Pakistan, including Defense Minister Khawaja Asif, have gone so far as to claim that the Taliban has turned Afghanistan into a colony of India. This accusation is not without merit. India has long been a regional rival to Pakistan, and its involvement in Afghanistan has been a source of tension between the two nations. However, Pakistan's claims that the Taliban is working as an Indian proxy remain highly contentious, as India has historically aligned itself with groups that oppose the Taliban, such as the Northern Alliance. The possibility of a proxy war being waged through Afghanistan is further complicated by the larger geopolitical dynamics in the region. As the conflict escalates, Iran, China, and the United Nations have all called for de-escalation. However, Pakistan's refusal to engage in dialogue with the Taliban suggests that this conflict may only get worse. What happens next? As of February 28th, Pakistan has vowed to hold no dialogue with the Taliban, signaling that it sees no avenue for peace under the current circumstances. If the conflict continues to escalate, it could have profound implications for the region and the world. Despite its military superiority, Pakistan faces significant challenges in defeating the Taliban. The prolonged nature of guerrilla warfare and the involvement of groups like the TTP will make any military victory costly and protracted. Moreover, Pakistan's struggling economy and domestic instability add another layer of complexity to its ability to sustain a long-term war. Meanwhile, the global community is watching closely. The conflict in South Asia is already one of the potential flashpoints for World War III, and if it escalates further, it could draw in other powers, in particularly India and Iran. The stakes are high, and the future of the region hangs in the balance. Conclusion: the war between Pakistan and the Afghan Taliban is far from over, and its outcome is uncertain. While Pakistan's conventional military strength gives it an advantage, the Taliban's expertise in asymmetric warfare and its alliance with the TTP pose significant challenges. As the conflict continues to unfold, the world will be watching closely to see how it impacts the broader geopolitical landscape. Will Pakistan be able to achieve a swift victory? Or will the Taliban's guerrilla tactics drag the country into a long, costly war? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the consequences of this conflict will be felt far beyond the borders of South Asia.